In this video, I'm going to demystify subqueries by presenting the most common use cases, what a subquery is, how it's constructed, the different types of subqueries, and the rules surrounding the use of subqueries. What exactly is a subquery? Essentially, it's another query embedded within a main query. You can reference a subquery just about anywhere a table is referenced, such as in a from clause or even in the select clause column list. You can also use a subquery in a where clause to help you filter the results of the main query, and you'll see an example a bit later. Subqueries can be nested 255 deep. Finally, a subquery can be correlated or not correlated. I'll show you an example of these as well. In the where clause, a subquery is often uncorrelated, even though the tables referenced in the subquery might also be referenced in the main query. In the example, I want to find all employees whose salary is greater than the average salary of all employees. The first select query shows what I'm going to compare all other salaries to, and in the second select query, I put it into action and make it part of the where clause, comparing the salary column in each row to the average salary across all employees. Thinking about the subquery I just ran, perhaps the results were skewed since I'm including the CEO's, King's, salary as part of the average. I changed the subquery to filter out King's salary, and when I run it, sure enough, my result set now has one more result since the calculated average salary is a bit lower without King's salary. Sometimes a subquery that's uncorrelated can be rewritten as correlated, or must be rewritten as correlated. It becomes correlated when you explicitly tie a column in the main query to a related column in the subquery. I'm going to take the salary subquery I've been working on and refine it further. Since each department has its own salary structure, it might not be fair to compare any one employee's salary to the average salaries across the company. The query to retrieve average salaries by department are in the slide along with the results. I'm still excluding King, even though she is in a department of her own. I revised the query with the new subquery. The subquery will return different results for each row in the main query based on which department they're in. The subquery now has a group by in it to return aggregated results by department, but more importantly, the condition in the where clause that links up the department ID in the subquery to the department ID in the main query. That's what correlates the main and subqueries. The new result set from the query shows employees who have a higher salary than the average for their department. Here's how you'd use a subquery as part of the column list of a select statement. In the example, I'm selecting columns just from the employees table. Or am I? For the last column of the query, I'm using a correlated subquery to do a lookup of the department name from the departments table. Logically, it's equivalent to joining with the departments table in the from clause, but doing it this way could clarify business logic and remove at least one of the tables out of the from clause itself. Subqueries, what are they good for? You really can't do without them. They can be correlated or not, depending on whether the subquery references a column or columns in the main part of the select statement. You can use them in three places, and are constructed quite differently. In either the column list of the select statement, a subquery replacing a table reference in the from clause, or either a correlated or uncorrelated subquery in the where clause.